Okay, we are live. Welcome to the Successful as Fuck show with me, your hostess with the mostest, Riah Gonzalez. I'm here with Veronica today. Welcome, Veronica.
Hey, I'm so excited to be here. And let me tell you, thank you from the bottom of my butt, because it's bigger than my heart, for having me. Because this topic is interesting to me.
I love it. I love it. Well, this is going to be like an off the chain conversation, and we are not holding back. So, like, if you are sensitive, like, please, with all the love in my heart, go away and come back another day. Like, because we are going to talk about things with intimacy, with control, with, just everything in between. So, there'll be some adult topics, just letting you guys know. But Veronica, tell us a little bit about your awesomeness and how you
Oh
serve
my
other
goodness.
awesome people.
Wow, where do I begin? So let me just get like the adult stuff out of the way. So I'm unapologetically kinky. Like I live a 24/7 BDSM like lifestyle. It is all kink all the time. And that also translates to my business as well. So our branding for Business Laid Bare, which I'm the CEO of, is like unapologetically kink and sex positive, because we are a digital operations agency focused on helping businesses like run really pleasurable and well lubricated operations so that they can actually go make that impact that they originally wanted to make for starting a business in a way that feels really sustainable, because quality of life matters, and just like done with ease and integrity. So we are here to help people run efficient businesses, because the more efficient your operations are, the more money you get to keep and the
Yes,
more money you can invest in, whether it's your team, your community, or maybe creating generational wealth in your family. Like that's important. That's important to me. And that's our huge why.
I love that. And I love that you're able to blend something that is so true to who you are into something that wouldn't you wouldn't normally think that would go together, but it really does. And I mean, we talk a lot. I mean, that's the whole point of my book is authenticity and being true and just like putting I talk about putting your shit on blast like all the time, and like just to embrace who you really are and then to incorporate it with what you do very well. I think is just that's why I was like, okay, I gotta have her on the show. I just love, like, first of all, your copy on your website and like all your materials
Thank
is
you.
just hilarious. Like it's just so good, but it's also very apparent that you're just being super true to who you are, and your business is pleasurable to you because you're being so true to who you are, and so you're empowering people. And I can imagine even people who aren't like as bold in their sexuality or bold in that way, or even people who don't identify as kinky or whatever, that this attracts them and this brings them in because they're like, okay, if she can be this um honest about who she is and this transparent, then I want to work with somebody who can help me be that transparent with who I am and create a pleasurable experience in my business as well.
For sure. Like I have nothing up my sleeve. Like that's why it's called Business Laid Bare, because I think like this translates into the conversation that we're about to have a lot, because success was all about ors. Like you can't be both. You can't be this and that. It's either you are doing this or you're doing that. And so it's like I literally have nothing up my sleeve. It's business laid bare, because once you strip everything off, like the beliefs, the limiting beliefs that your family or society has bestowed upon you, or the assumptions or the expectations, it's like, who are you naked? Who are you laid bare? And how do you want to show up in the world? Because now you get to make your own rules. And oftentimes, when you're that bare, it's really scary, because
Mhm.
you're so used to listening to other people.
Yes.
So yeah, like we have a lot of permission giving in our business, because we all have clients come to us and be like, we're supposed to run business like this because so and so said so. And I'm just like, but you and so are two vastly
Very
different
different
people.
people, yeah.
Sure, you're running the same type of business, like say marketing agency or branding agency, whatever it is, but it's like inherently you think different, you have different experiences, you see the world differently, you have different goals for yourself and your team members and your people. So it's like, why should you do what they said? And it's often because they don't know any better, because they didn't know that they could create a delicious business that is everything they ever wanted to be and more.
Right. There's this I do meditation, and there's this one by a man named David G. It's Ji, and he's really big on Insight Timer. I highly recommend him, but he did this meditation, and he's like, you need to be laying down for this meditation. And I can't remember, it was like a healing meditation or something, but I just remember that he says, okay, I want you to imagine your clothes lifting off your body. And I'm like, what the fuck? Okay. Like, and he's like, and they disintegrate into the air, and you're laying and you're completely naked on the bed. And I'm like, this is like, what's happening? And then he's like, now I want you to imagine your skin lifting off your body. And basically he went through every layer of your body. And then he goes, now I want you to imagine your bones just floating away. And he goes, and all that's left is this ball of light. And he goes, and there's no roles, and there's no, like, you're not a mom, you're not a wife, you're not a husband, you're not a person at work, you're not a friend, you're not a sister, brother, you're none of those things. You're just you, like this, just the sentient ball of energy. You're just you in your purest form. And that like really stuck with me, because it is what you're saying. It's like, who are you when you strip away, like, I'm a business owner, I'm a mom, I'm, a homeowner, I don't have to walk to work, like, whatever it
Mhm.
might be, who are you? And then how does that translate once you identify who you are? How does that translate into both your business or your ventures if you're not in business, but also into this topic of like success? Like, how do you measure what is good for you? How do you measure what is successful for you when you know exactly who you are?
And that was really hard. Like, success, it's still, just to be completely honest, because I don't know how else to be, like, success to this day is still really confusing to
Oh,
me. I mean,
totally.
I have much more clarity than I ever had, but so I'm Chinese. I grew up really traditionally Chinese, except for I've also had some, and I'm first generation born. So it's like you have these clashing ideologies and cultures, Chinese on one side, being Americanized on the other. And it's like success was confusing because success was very much tied to what somebody's path already was. So it's like success isn't the road less traveled. The success was the road that was proven stable. Money is always involved because Asians love talking about money, which I love too. I love money. Can't math, but can count money really well. And it's tied to like, can you provide a stable home for yourself and your husband? Because I was supposed to marry, somebody. Or am I a doctor? Am I a lawyer? Am I an engineer? Because those are proven track records that can pretty much guarantee a higher income than other traditional practices. And so for me, like, that's what success looked like. And it was scary because I had so much expectation set on me. And what was worse was that, yes, I was bred and raised to perform because that's how Asians are raised, but like, it wasn't exciting. It was just going through the motions. And like on the outside, it looked really good, but on the inside, like, it was killing me. And I'm like, I can't
Mhm.
say anything because I don't want to bring shame onto the family.
Right. Which is really this, I'm going to say this so many times because we're just going to like build this conversation. But so I'm considering, well, first of all, I wrote the motherfucking book on this, and I don't know what the fuck success is. So let's just get that straight out. Like, nobody knows what it is, because that's the point. Is it's an ever moving target. It's an ever changing thing, an ever evolving thing. It's different for every person, and it's different today than it will be tomorrow, than it will be the next day. But we do, and I encourage people to um, ground themselves in the not momentous times, to look around and say, what is working right now? Like, what's a win right now? Because we only look at like those momentous times and say, like, okay, that's where I marked what success was, and then whatever. But I was working with one of my business coaches, who's also in the advance, actually, Gabriella Manchula. And I was working on my new offer because I'm branching out into my personal brand with this book. And one of the things I talked about when I was talking about my ideal client was I said, well, they're part of the overachievers club. Like and she's like, well, what do they want? And I'm like, everything, but nothing. Like, because there's nothing that satiates them. And I said, you know what they want? They want enough, but they don't know what that word means. They want enough. And I've said that before, like, what the fuck is enough? I don't know what that feels like in my body. I don't know what that feels like in my heart. I don't know what that feels like at all, because whether the pressure be external or cultural or internal or due to trauma or whatever it might be, for some of us that manifests in this like ever like frenetic trying to achieve, to gain worthiness and approval from something, someone, but really it's from ourselves, because we can't give ourselves permission to say, I see myself and I see that I am worthy and I see that I am enough and I am successful, and I give myself permission to say that I am successful. And
it's hard. It is so hard because and I think my parents did this and family did this with lots of love, like the goalpost always moved. So while you're chasing this success, this arbitrary term, it always moved, and success was a goal rather than an embodiment.
Oh
And
yeah,
so,
I like that.
like, when I am a lawyer making a shit ton of money, or when I'm a doctor, when I can, again, tied to money and career, when I do this, then I am successful. And that was one of the biggest things that I had to overcome, was because, so I was in college going to pre-med, like it was such a competitive situation that I just had no desire for it. Yes, I love medicine. I love being able to watch people like cut open a bicep like 2 inches away. Right. And so, but I just wasn't passionate about it anymore. And there was just so much competition, to the point where people were just memorizing to memorize so they could get good grades and take a test. And I realized that one day, I was in the shower. I get a lot of thoughts in the shower, even to this day. I just realized that the biggest thing that I didn't listen to, like, I listened to everyone else's voice, and the one that actually mattered was my own. And it was the one that was not listened to. And like something just clicked, and I'm like, I'm not happy. Sure, I'm happy, but I'm not fulfilled. I don't feel joy, but I'm happy. And that was when I was like, okay, something's got to give. And that's when I ended up, instead of pursuing one major that Stanford had predetermined, I was like, I'm going to take 3 majors, 3.5, and combine them into one and create my own.
There you go.
And I'm just like, that's the theme of success for me, is that like I am doing things on my terms, my way. And even if it's like operations, like there's plenty of operations people, there's plenty of management consulting firms out there. But it's just like, I have a voice and there is a specific way I do things, because we are a pleasure-based and people-first operations agency and philosophy. And it's like, this is what feels right, because we're human beings and because I'm the CEO and I say so. So and I would say that success to this day has been something that I think about a lot, because if I never define success as having what I love now, it's always going to be unobtainable. So for me, success feels like, am I living my life to the fullest and doing exactly what I want with the highest integrity, laughing, like crying with joy. Like it's all about emotions for me. Like I'm a very emotional person.
Yeah.
And so that's part of our operation stuff, is because, especially as women, it's like that's the one part that we don't honor enough, because society doesn't trust that. So it's like, am I happy? Like, am I satisfied right now? Am I doing exactly what I want? Am I showing up, or am I dimming my light a little bit so that I can appease somebody? Because I've had plenty of people say, you could have more money if you tone your kink down. And I was like, we're not about the ors here. I can make even more money and tone my kink up, and it's going to be great.
Yes. Yes. I really thought really, really carefully about the name of the book. I liked it at first because I do swear like a sailor, and that's just who I am. Like my husband, he's so funny. He swears a lot, but not like I do. And so sometimes he's like, "Can you tone it down?" And I was like, "Listen, motherfucker, I swore and smoked cigarettes when you met me. So I don't smoke anymore, so you can take a couple like fucks here and there, like whatever." Um but I was just like, is it going to offend people? Like, what is my family going to think? Because I have people who are very religious in my family and I love them and I want their support in me writing this book. But I know that that's going to be like, they're going to feel a conflict of being able to support me because it goes against what their beliefs are. And then ultimately I was like, this is my fucking book. Like, this may be the only book that, maybe not, but this may be the only book that I write. This may be my manifesto, like the one thing that I pass down. And I would be so proud if my grandchild was like, my grandma wrote the book called Successful as Fuck. Like, I would be so proud of that because it says something about who I am. And I think what your business is says something about who you are. You are bold. You are honest. You are authentic, you are vulnerable. And I love the fact that you emphasize emotion because that's actually something that I talked about in the book, but also in life. And that is that I'm often called too emotional. Like, I'm too much. Like, I am too much. Okay. Get over it or get out. Like, I'd rather be too much and alone than be too small and have people who don't know who I am.
Yeah, I feel that a lot. Like, I mean, I listen to my intuition so much. My friends who are brilliant marketers, they came up with this hashtag for me called hashtag follow the drip. And yes, that could be taken very sexually or however you want to do it. But like when I get excited about something, like my nose starts running or I start tearing up. And it's almost like a sign to keep running at it. And it's like,
Mm,
if that isn't like a measure of success, like just being so overwhelmed with like pride and excitement, it's like, are you just happy right now? And I think to
right.
me that's this question that I ask myself right now. Are you fulfilled with life this very moment? And if you say no, at least it's a plan for you to say, okay, what's something that I can do? But if you say yes, I'm just like, that is success. And success changes. Like there's just like a diamond, there's so many facets to it, right?
Right.
And I wonder to us, like success, there's like 20 different facets that or more, multiple hundreds of facets where one day I'm going to pull from this facet, one day I'm going to pull from this. Like I would love to be a six-figure giver. We always talk
Yeah.
about seven-figure plus entrepreneurship earnings. But isn't it just as important to also give, at least the people I am around? So it's like, I want to be able to easily donate $100,000 without blinking an eye to Planned Parenthood.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right. So, like, that to me is success. Like, I can take care of my family, like thinking about Maslow's hierarchy. I can take care of myself, my team, my family, my community, organizations I care about the most. Cause like that's what I would love is to make this world a little better than how I found it. And
Yeah.
that's what like our business does too. Like we have so many visionaries that work with us, right? The CEOs, but their operations cannot support that vision. And I'm like, if you want to leave a legacy, leave a mark, have it be sustainable, you can't be a one night stand or a one hit wonder. It has to be supported and in for the long run. Otherwise, change doesn't happen.
That's so, so true. And I was gonna say the facets and how things change and all of that, and even identifying when it doesn't feel good and just saying like, okay, so what's in my control? Like, what can I do right now? And this is like my 12-year-old will do this thing where she'll do it in our group chat and she'll say like, what are three things that went good today? And so then she'll say, what are three things that didn't go so good today? And then what are three things you can do tomorrow to make those three things better? And
That
that's still a good day, right? Like you were grateful for three things that happened, not just like, I love my family, I love my house, I love my dog, or whatever. It's like, no, this thing happened today and this thing happened and it kind of sucked. And this thing, like tomorrow I am going to, meditate more or call that person or whatever it might be. but just having a more well-rounded view on life, and knowing, like you said, that you pull from all these different places, like, and you can, if the thing that you pulled is not quite right, pull again.
Pull it back. Yeah, put it
Yeah,
back, pull again. Who's to
yeah,
say you can only do this once?
yeah,
But
exactly.
if I can honestly say that I am living my life exactly how I want to, lifestyle, kink, business, and all, and am being someone of high integrity, like that's one of my core values, like freedom, joy, ease. Oh, ease is a fun one because when you're in ease, it means that things are flowing, things are in alignment. So you're working in your like your zone of genius or excellence in a way. So like if everything was always an uphill battle, something's amiss. So when I feel my life is full of ease, and I'm not to say that ease is easy, ease is fucking hard,
Hmm.
but it's like it means that I'm on the right path to honoring me as 100% me.
Yeah,
And I think that's success. Like how many people can say that they live their truth and can live the life of freedom, run a business that while it's so polarizing, people love, be successful at, pay the team well, and have the team work in their zone of genius and so that they have quality of life too. It's like we work like sometimes 4-day weeks, sometimes 3.5, because it's important for me to have them go do things that spark them, whether it's co-own a bookstore, go work on their hand product like business, or just spend time with their family. Like that to me is, I feel successful if I can have my team be that efficient so that they can
yeah,
have something outside of work.
yeah, I love that. And I'm like big proponent too of just like quality of life for team as well. Just because those are the people that support us to do what we love. And we always say, like, delegate what you don't care for, and do the things that you're really really good at, that you went into business to do. And if we don't take care of those people, then they go away or they resent you, and I don't want either one of those things. I want the same level of authenticity that I want for myself. I want them to be able to be that for themselves too.
And I would say on the business side, like, because I'm talking a lot about like life success. It's like on the business side, especially coming from an operations perspective, it's like we say that your business is successful if your team is doing the best that they can. Like to me, productivity means nothing if you can't throw the word efficiency in there, which is getting the
Mhm.
same results in less time. Or your business to us isn't successful based on how much money it's making, but rather the profits. And additionally, how much time can you as a CEO take off? Like, is your business vacation proofed? Do you have the business operations systems and structure to take time off, to recharge, to go on a vacation, to live life and
Yeah,
have that business run and not worry that it's going to implode while you're gone? Like those are measures of success, quality of life, because we know that the people that we work with, the money is always going to come. We look at the operations from a sense of like efficiency and productivity, because then if your operations are efficient and lean, it means that you take more profits home. And
right.
when when women have more money in their hands, when they have more buying power, they can invest in things that truly matter. So it's
Oh
all
yeah.
about like doing your thing. You do you.
Well, what's so funny is, like, we focus so much in like business groups and everything about six figures, six figures, six figures. That really doesn't mean shit. Like, it really doesn't. So the second year of business, I think I made $132,000, and I just about shit my pants. I was just like, I crossed the $100,000 mark in like the end of August, and I was just like, what the hell is happening? Guess what happened at the end of the year? Underwater by like $17,000. And like that, so that means nothing. That's like having vanity numbers that you bought for Instagram. You know what I mean? Like, okay, you have 300,000 followers. So what? Like, what does that mean for you? And so, what it meant for me was a lack of education in, just because it's deductible doesn't mean you need to buy it. You know, Like, just because it's for the business doesn't mean you need to buy it. Personal development doesn't have to be your biggest expense. You know what I mean? Like, there are lots of things that you can do for personal development that you don't have to go out and get the most expensive coach. And I really was searching for clarity, and that's really where it was at. And so I thought I needed to have that externally instead of doing an internal journey to figure out where the clarity, why I was so unclear. And it actually took me getting into a really bad car accident and the pandemic and all that kind of stuff for me to like really say, I hate what I'm doing. Like, I really hate where my life is. Like, not my personal life, not my family, but like what I'm doing with the majority of my time. And so, because of that, I was able to shift things, and it took a hit, right? Like, when you shift things, you pivot, it takes a hit. But what I make is authentically mine, like it's not some vanity number. Like, if someone, that's why I just don't give a crap when anyone's like, oh, 5-figure months or 6 figures this or 7 figures that. I'm like, okay, what's the bottom line? What does that look like? You know what I mean? Because if it doesn't look like 6 figures at the bottom, I don't care. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care what you're talking about, because and frankly, I don't really care if it's about you anyways, because that's your personal journey and your walk, your life. But there's just this obsession around money in that way, which money is a vehicle. It's like really just the vehicle to living a more pleasurable life, giving, and like you said, giving to your family, giving to your friends, giving to the community. And yeah, I just like that was like a big lesson for me, was like, how is that possible that I'm underwater that much money? Like, because I also wasn't factoring in some things into my profit and loss statement. I thought they were separate. So when we put it all together, that's when we realized that we were underwater. And I was just like, so I just worked for free for a year. Like, yeah, I did. And actually, I ended up with the equivalent of student loan debt at the end of it. So, like, so it's just important for people to understand that when success is only measured in money, you're going to be disappointed. Money is the byproduct of whatever your success is. Money is the thing that comes because you're having an ease in life, and it will come if you let it come, but it's not the actual goalpost. You'll be disappointed
No.
every time.
How do I follow up with how do I follow that? How do I just follow up with what you just said? I can't. That's so brilliant. Like like that was
No.
amazing.
No, but I mean, like, I'm confident that you see the same thing, because also, like, take it to the next level. So what if you have a great bottom line, but you hate yourself? You like,
That's
you're like me, laying in bed broken from a car accident, and you're like, I just wasted all these years of my life, and time with my family, and time with doing things that I love, and like money, and feeling guilty and feeling like a burden. I just did all these things, and it's for nothing, and now I have to totally change what I'm doing because I realize that I'm not in alignment with what I need to do, and I don't even know what I want to do. So, like, so what if you have that great profit number? Again, money is like vanity numbers. Like, if you don't really like what you're doing, which I'm sure a lot of people are drawn to you because they want that pleasurable experience in their business, they want the better quality of life. What do you
I
see
think
with your clients with that?
I think joy is a word that comes to mind a lot because joy is almost like intrinsic, whereas happiness is externally affected. So
Mhm.
like they have this vision. They know that they want to actualize on. And the moment that they can, with our help, it's like there's ease and
Mhm.
pleasure. And a lot of the times people don't even like, we don't talk about this enough in operations, but we've had clients come to us say, hey, so I just had a miscarriage, or my father is living his last days and I need to go be with him. And they always come back saying, like, wow, we never knew that operations was so important until like catastrophes like this mattered, because they were fully able to be present with how whomever, themselves, family, as they needed, and can 100% guarantee that the business could run by itself, or the team members could take care of it. And so when they come back singing us praises like this, it's like, it's very bittersweet, because, you know, there's a loss, there's tragedy, but at the same time, it's like, it gives us renewed vigor that this
Yeah.
is what we need to be doing, because again, it comes back to feelings and quality of life. So they were like, that was a huge success that was not tied to money, but rather being able to be present with the family members or ourselves that we needed to be.
Yeah. I wish I could remember where I heard this, but it just came to mind. I've not thought of this for a long time, but somebody was explaining the difference between joy and happiness. And they said, like, imagine you're in Hawaii and you walk out into the ocean and you're like thigh deep in the water and you can feel the warm water and you see the fish like swimming around you, and you just are in this pure sense of bliss and you feel the warmth and you're like present there. That's joy.
Yeah.
Happiness
Yep.
are the waves that lick over the rocks and like kind of rock you a little bit and like gives you that extra little push. You know what I mean? And those little waves, that's happiness. That's like a temporary, like little wave, a little rush. Joy is the solid in the sand at the bottom, and like,
or the sun on your face.
Yeah. So and that just like what you said just really brought that back, because I think we can get lost in what is joy, what is happiness. And that is a big part of success, because again, you can have what you thought you wanted and be unhappy. And
Absolutely.
if you are unhappy, you are not successful. Yeah. So if you were to fast forward, like let's say 10, 20 years, and look back between today and that time frame, what would you say? Like, fuck yeah, I did that. Like, I feel so successful that I did that. And maybe your version of success moving forward from there is probably going to be different, but like looking back and just feeling proud and feeling very successful, what would you have wanted to accomplish in those 10 to 20 years?
If I looked back on myself, so 20 years from now, I look back on today, I think 20 years Veronica would be so proud to know that this current Veronica did not sacrifice her integrity, that she went for everything she wanted. Yes, there are failures, right? Like I was taught, failure is good. Rapid prototyping, rapid failure is good, because there are lessons and insights learned. So to be able to see her laughing with tears streaming out of her eyes, like that to me is success. Because like you said earlier, like if you're making all this money but you're not happy, what's the point, right? So I would hope that, to do Veronica proud 20 years later, that this Veronica continues to not compromise and to not sacrifice who she is and how she is meant to show up simply because other people can't handle it.
Oh my God, preach. Like, I'm so excited that we're turning this into a podcast episode, because that phrase right there is like everything. Like, it is just so true. Like, we have to be authentic, we have to be uncompromisingly ourselves. It's so crucial. And if you don't know who you are, then go down that journey. Like for me, that has been like, I used to say there's no way that I could meditate because I have ADHD. Well, I do a lot of guided meditation and that helps me. But I also allow my brain to just do what it wants to do. And I call it ping ponging. Like I'll just lay there and let it ding, 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 and that's maybe not relaxing for other people, but I'm surprised by the thoughts that emerge when I just relax and allow my brain to do, like, instead of fighting it and trying to fit myself into a mold, which I have to do sometimes to operate in this world. And I have to like put on the little like happy mask and like do the thing, but just to like let myself sink into who I am and let the thoughts come to me. And like sometimes they're the most ridiculous things, but then sometimes it comes up in conversation and I'm like, oh my God, that's why I had that thought. It was just for that. And
That's
so,
beautiful.
yeah, it's just so fun to when it comes up, like you're talking to somebody and you're like, oh, wait, stop. I have a total thought about this that came to me when I was ping ponging. Like, so it's about being uncompromisingly yourself. And to go into that, it's like I am woo woo, so like I'm fine with that. But even if you're not, like journal, you know what I mean? Talk to yourself, like write, like I'm actually releasing in Instagram reels like letters to myself that I didn't make it into the book. Like write to yourself. Like write to yourself and say whatever it is that's in your heart. Like I my first things were like, I hate you. I hate that you didn't do this thing, or I hate that you can't do this thing, or I hate that you can't balance this enough, or like that and then it starts to morph into like, I don't actually hate you. I just regret that I can't do those things. And I feel um, unworthy, like, or I feel like I'm not enough because I want to be able to do those things. And I'm not sure how to reconcile that. And it just unwinds. And those are the things where you find out who you really are. What is most important to you, and like how do you lay yourself bare, like how do you be who you are? And
Yeah.
that's just, it's so good. And business is such a fake ass world, like, so what you're doing is like so needed, I
Thank you.
just, yeah, it's just so good. Plus people like one of my very best friends, she actually did my business plan. Her business is called the Life Dom. Like she's a no BS coach. Like she really is. Like so I'm like, all right, what am I supposed to do? You know what I mean? Like, like, and that's her whole like perspective is like, sometimes you just need someone to boss you around a little bit because you're on the wrong path. And, so she's like, I'm just like, I'm not actually going to whip you, but I am with my tone. Like, I'm going to say like, you're not on the right path. Get over here, like, and, so I just think that, yeah, that's where I'm at is like, you have to go, if you don't know who you are, that has to be above personal development and spending money on all these things. Like spend the money on taking a weekend away with yourself and just be quiet and see what happens.
Yeah, I love that. What a beautiful way to like wrap this all together. So thank you for
Yes,
that.
yes. Well, Veronica, what you do is badass, and more people need to know about it and to, maybe even have a discovery call with you and talk about how they can work with you because there is nobody like Veronica, that is for sure. We are going to put some contacts in information, everything in the show notes, but what is the very best way for people to get a hold of you?
Yeah, so there are two. Like if you know that you're like ready to work on your operations and make them orgasmic, like sure, I'd love to book a consult call with you. Just come to my website businesslaidbare.com and there's a link for that. Or if you're like, whoa, what is this orgasmic operation stuff? What's operations? Like I know I need it, but I'm more like the visionary type of person. I'd love for you to sign up for my newsletter because it's all about orgasmic operations, strategies, insights, so that you can take action on your business in a really pleasurable way so that there's sustainability, ease, all the things I talked about. So I would love for you to join my newsletter. So that's businesslaidbare.com/newsletter. And that's it.
Love it. I love it. And before we go, the last question that I always love to ask is what is the best piece of advice that you've ever been given? And it can be from any source.
Well, can it be from myself? Because I
Oh,
had
yeah.
to. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So the best piece of advice that I give to others and have to give to myself is that if it's not orgasmic, don't settle. Because why? Right? If it doesn't feel good, if it doesn't bring you immense joy and happiness, it's like, why are we settling? So that is the best advice I've given and received is
I love
if it's
that.
not orgasmic, don't settle.
I love that. Well, this shall be the first of many conversations. I feel a kinship with you for sure. And thank you guys so much for joining us for the Successful as Fuck show. please stay in tune with us because the pre-order campaign starts at the end of this month, which is really, really exciting. And this episode will be live on YouTube. So if you came in, definitely catch the replay, or you can hop over to YouTube and watch it from the very beginning. Leave us comments, reach out. We want to hear what your thoughts are. And we just thank you for joining us on this episode of Successful as Fuck. Thanks, guys.
Bye.